In 1976, I had the pleasure of working on the reintroduction of Gary Burbank back into the Louisville market. Gary had been in the Louisville market a few years earlier at WAKY, but had left to pursue other challenges in the Detroit market by way of a Canadian 50,000-watt station in Ontario. To say the least, Gary is a very, very funny guy in a usually bizarre kind of way. I can recall he and I walking to the parking lot together after work one day and being accosted by a band of Hare Krishnas with their bells banging and they chanting. I think they were trying to save us. Or rob us, I'm not sure which. But then all of a sudden, Gary broke into his Right Reverend Skaggs routine. His eyes went wild as he began his preaching tirade. He flung his hands about and pointed an accusing finger at the Hare Krishnas and said the Lord would strike down all false-hearted, money-hungry, godless heathens. They stopped motionless, fear in their eyes, fear for their very lives, not by God's hand, but by Gary's. Then they bolted away in different directions. I'm sure that event is still talked about to this day by that group, unless Gary had scared them into retirement or a mental institution. But I digress. For Gary's reintroduction to the Louisville market, I did an interview with him and busted it up into segments, which aired the week prior to his first show on WHAS. I can recall the pressure prior to the interview. I had met him only a day or two before the interview, and only to say hello and welcome to Louisville and WHAS. So now, I'm sitting down with the king of comedy, and I'm just hoping I can hold my own with him and wind up with some good stuff for air. In radio, you have to be ready for almost anything.
Whereas the White House had the Watergate tapes, the cuddly giant has the Burbank tapes. The following we have humbly come to call a candid conversation with the king of comedy, subtitled Burbank is Back. Over the past 2 weeks, you have been hearing parts and pieces of this conversation edited into short vignettes or promos. At this time, we would like to present the full tape of the Burbank interview. It began like this. Let's talk a little bit about when you went to Canada. Some of the unusual things that you found out about Canada, maybe that you missed about the United States.
Well, to get that in right perspective, see, I left Louisville and went to New Orleans. See, a disc jockey, gypsy blood. You know, I had to get around a little bit before I went home for good. And I went down there. Like, New Orleans is just a completely different thing from any other place in the world. It's just a wild, crazy city. If you can imagine going to work at 5 o'clock, say Thursday morning, when nowhere would anything be going on. But in New Orleans, you look down Bourbon Street. The station was in the quarter, see. And you look down Bourbon Street and you look and you see, you know, people just lying all over the place, people walking over drunks and stuff, you know. This is where I want to stay forever. Well, I got about 5 months, I was going, God, I got to get out of here. I can't take it anymore. I just couldn't keep up with the lifestyle.
But you got the heavy influence.
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed it. I really had a good time.
French influence in New Orleans.
Right, exactly, which helped me out when I went to Canada because, you know, even cereal boxes up there have the French side of it. Now I read the French side of everything and not the American side, although I cannot read French. I just like to look cool doing it. I'm reading the French side.
A couple of key phrases that you can use in French.
Right.
What do you like to do on the air?
I like to have fun, and I'm one of those kind of guys that enjoy his job, and that's... I don't know if it's good or bad. People look at me kind of funny when I say that, you know. I like doing what I do. I like to go in, just have a good time, talk to people on telephone, get them on the radio, you know, kid around with them, maybe put a little prank on them, let them put a little prank on me if they can, and play a lot of nice records, and just what you like to do on the radio. Same thing. You know, just have a good time.
What do you do? You've got characters.
I do a lot of characters, right.
What characters do you do?
At the moment I'm not really sure how I'm going to streamline my characters and in what vein they're going to be done here. I never know until it's really time to do it. You know, I just get on and just let it happen. And the spontaneity is I think, much better this way. But at the moment, I have a character called the Right Reverend Skaggs. And I was here, that's right, of the little radio church of the White Winged Gospel Truth. Now, that's a character that usually causes the most, he'll get more letters from irate listeners than anyone, simply because people don't really stop to think about what he is. He is not really a preacher, but he comes up with these new ideas about how to get money. He had one time a Hell's Bells alarm clock, that when you die, this alarm clock lets you know that it's time for the pearly gates and you got to get up to heaven to get to see it. He had the Well, he always talks about he wants that green salad of salvation to come from your pockets. That's his entire reason for being on the radio is to fleece money from the listeners. But I think most people can recognize these guys, these Reverend Skaggs types, when they hear them on the air.
Give me a pitch so I'll see if I can recognize it. This is Reverend Skaggs.
I'm the Right Reverend Deuteronomy Skaggs of the Little Radio Church of the White-Winged Gospel Truth, and you'll be hearing me on this radio station, this station being WHAS, the Cuddly Giant. I'll be here giving you the purple radiance feeling, friends, with Gary Burbank. Now, friends, I know you're wondering about this. You say, is he telling the truth? I have in my presence right here a personally autographed picture of him. He gave me just as I was leaving him. Now, for a mere love offering, this is absolutely free. I'm telling you, friends, this is free. Free, absolutely no charge for $5. If you send it in here to me right now, I'm going to send you this autographed picture of him. Say amen.
Gary Burbank doing Reverend Skaggs.
No, actually, I'm Reverend Skaggs doing Gary Burbank at the moment.
What do you think about radio today? Where's it headed?
Top 40 radio, of course, is doing a lot of changing. It has to do a lot of changing because of the specialized part of radio. I think the WHAS station, this is why sort of like I wanted to come back to WHAS, this type radio station, we call it MOR, is because we generalize in this type of radio a little more. You know, we can encompass, I think, a better audience that is willing to listen to the air personality adverse to a teeny bopper sitting by the radio saying, "Come on, play KC and the Sunshine Band, man, shut up." And I don't really get off on that because I want to get my rapping in. You understand? And like what we're doing here, especially with MOR now, you have a lot of adults into the person on the radio, into the community involvement. But the type station, like the MOR stations, are more community-minded. I'm into that too. But as far as where's radio's going, I have no idea. I just want to be there. I want a job. That's all.
What's the funniest character that you developed?
I think probably the character that gets the most reactions as far as funny is Bass Ackwards. Now, you probably wonder, who in the world is Bass Ackwards? Bass Ackwards is a combination of Paul Harvey, and he has a brother, and his brother's name is also Bass Ackwards. Bass Ackwards talks like this. Paul Harvey, page 2. I'm Bass Ackwards. You know, he does a news commentary, and he has a brother named Bass Ackwards who talks like this. He's there when I can't get the voice to do bass. See, bass is in the high register. Yeah. I can do it today. See, bass is in a very high register as far as if you're doing, voices. And I found that, like, if I have a little bit of a cold or a little hoarseness, or my larynx is like tired from talking like now, I just can't get that high. So I invented Bass Ackwards' brother, Bass Ackwards.
Can you give us a little sample of Bass Ackwards?
Let me think. I don't even know. Let's see. Good day. This is Bass Ackwards. This just in. The gasoline war is over, and the gasoline has won. Wait a minute. Pen pal. Don't do this to me, Jim. I just came here. I just got off a jet plane. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to do no Bass Ackwards. I won't go to sleep. I've been up all night. I've been trying to get things together. And I just come into Louisville and somebody said, do Bass Ackwards. You're Bass Ackwards. I ain't doing it. Well, okay, hold on. Can you stop the tape? I'm going to think of one.
Stop the tape.
Well, sorry, then I'll have to. Okay. Good day. I'm going to get one out. Yes. Good day. News of a giant business merger in the news this hour. We have heard that a giant merger will take place between TWA, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the Schick Razor Company. Schick Razor Company. Sure. The new conglomeration, of course, will be called Chicken Schick Airlines. Okay. Sorry, Gary, you can't use that. And on my next job, I have a character called Ranger Bob.
This is a Canadian invention?
No, he happened in fact, all these characters were with me when I was in Louisville. But they were so abbreviated because I had to do it within a record intro.
Which is quick.
Really, 10 seconds to do a really nice line that I would lose a lot of setup time and things like this. I
All
really
they
couldn't
could
get
do
it
is
through.
afford to do the punchline.
That's it, you know.
No joke.
People would say, and I said, God, if you're in there, please don't eat my muffin. And, what does he mean? Get out of the salad. What? I could just do like an hour of punchlines.
Ranger Bob.
Ranger Bob is like he's a strange character. Now, Ranger Bob is a little bizarre. He sees himself as being the radio version of Sesame Street. He teaches kids to do things like he was on one time. He's like, you know, I have some theme music that's really good for him, and have a bunch of little kids that go, "Hi, Ranger Bob." And he goes, "Hi, buckaroos. It's Roll Power Ranger Bob here." And he does a thing like one day he was on the air. He was advising children that there's a lot of scratchiness in their John Denver records. Mm-hmm. And to get this scratchiness out, he had some sandpaper that if the kids wanted to come by the station and get it, he would, you could sand your records, and this would take all the scratchiness away. And he was on the air advising kids to do this. Now, I got a letter from a lady, this is true, saying, my God, I came home from work. The babysitter really hadn't been watching the kid that cleverly because he was over by the stereo. We let him play with it. He had gotten his dad's sandpaper and had sandpapered, believe it or not, the John Denver records. The kid was 8 years old. He should know better. But Ranger Bob can get into trouble sometime. But he's a fun character to do, too. And I have the Maharishi.
Hello, my devoted followers. This is the Maharishi Diaper Rashi, and I would like to invite all of you to be here with me February 9th on the Cuddly Giant, as I will be with Mr. Gary Burbank, and we will give you moments of wisdom, solace, and comfort to help you through life and traffic.
I'm going to tell you my big lie here. I started at a station in Butte, Montana. Butte, Montana, KBUT. We call it K-Butt. Get on the radio and K-Butt with 250 watts. Directional. Straight up. You had to fly over an airplane, pick us up. Wave was heavy. You used to take requests from the navigator. No, I started in Lake Providence, Louisiana. And you went through the same thing, I'm sure. Making $60 a week and getting to sweep the floor on Sunday and working all day Sunday, signing on, signing off 7 days a week. And just loved it. Not really. And finally, but I kept, seeing that pie in the sky, realizing that I didn't have the talent to do anything else, so I better stay with it. And made it to, I made it to here. When I made it to Louisville was when I think I really started enjoying radio. Because I had been in places like, there's a station in Memphis. There, how can I say this delicately? I'd be in there and I got here at 9 o'clock, right? There was, I had to stay around in case there were commercials to be cut. But there was nowhere to stay. But they had these rules. Disc jockeys cannot inhabit the hallways or the lounge out front where the secretary is, because they don't want people to see disc jockeys. Because, we may say something weird to them like, "Hey, here's your favorite hit?" And this tends to run off clients, I guess. And so I didn't know where to go. So I hung around the bathroom, which was the only place, only place I could go in the whole radio station. So I'd be at 9 o'clock, I'd go in the bathroom to smoke a cigarette, and wait for them to call me. And people would be coming in, looking at me going, "Hey, this guy's in here a lot, man. I don't know, But coming here seemed to make things a lot more stable. Suddenly, my life started, taking a pattern on of working and coming home and going to, I love Cumberland. I don't know, I know the lake's down now, they tell me. But and Louisville was just the perfect place for me, it seemed. As far as geographically, I loved it because the hills to ride. I like to ride a dirt bike a lot. I'm not really into that. And the lakes around, are accessibly, they're pretty easy. You can get to Cumberland, in an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Where?
Cumberland Lake. Come on. Come on.
Burbank is the